Boys, girls, ladies, and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As you may know, my wonderfully rigorous upload schedule, in which I never, ever go over a month without uploading. It would never happen. It's been a little bit broken. We'll see if we can do some account update videos. I'd probably like to do an update after I, finish my C kills and after we do the KvK, stuff like that. Anyway, we are back at it with another video. This is going to be over the 10 most common beginner questions. Stuff I get asked every single day. I try to go through it in a pretty quick and concise manner while going through something that hopefully will help a lot of new players. If I've missed anything, feel free to drop it in the comments. I would not be opposed to making a part 2, part 3, part 4, whatever. I know there's a whole lot of questions that beginners have because the learning curve is so crazy. So the first one I got is people will often ask me a lot of questions about a commander named I or YSG. This is probably pound for pound the best commander in the game. I'm not going to go over him too hard. I'm going to tell y'all the answer, and I'm going to expect y'all to trust me a little bit. I'm going to give y'all a little bit of context, but just know if you're really early in the game, even if I explain everything to you, you're probably not going to understand a ton. So the first thing people will generally ask me, should I do YSG or should I do X, right? And X could be whatever commander. It could be Sundyuk, it could be Frederick, it could be Julius Caesar, it could be Richard, okay? Whatever the X is in YSG or X is wrong. It's always YSG. The answer is always YSG. Whenever you come into the chat, people will make fun of you too. Obviously, if you're in the live stream, right? If you ask like, should I do YSG or this, right? Because they'll ask a bunch of different questions like that. So the answer to that question is you're doing YSG. So if you're considering, hey, I have 400 sculptures, right? My Richard is 5111. Should I go further into Richard or should I go into YSG? The answer is you should go to YSG. Right? Not saying put XP, not saying put stars, I'm saying put these wonderful golden sculptures into YSG until he's expertised. Now, another super common question I get, number 2 on this list, is going to be, is YSG good at, 5111, 5511, 5515? And the answer is like 5511, probably not better than Sun Tzu. 5515, maybe better in some circumstances, not all. Realistically, you gotta expertise YSG. Some people will go like 5545 into YSG and then just start looking at other commanders. Okay, if you invest into YSG, finish him. Okay, the expertise, the whole reason why this commander is good is because expertise turns his area of effect, which starts out as a small like 90-degree fan, into a full 360-degree circle. If you want to be a winner when you use YSG and not a loser, expertise this man. Can he be good in other sections? Good is like a relative term. You got expertise this man. Another question I get a lot is, should I restart? A lot of people will look at their power, they'll look at the days played, and they will say, I'm like 10 mil and it's like KvK2. Like, should I restart? Or I'm like 40 mil and I'm in SOC and I'm not really that close to T5. I'm black and alive. Should I restart, right? The thing that I will tell people is, if you have just started the game and you started without a jumper, which I will talk a little bit about at the end of this. Obviously, nobody asked me about jumpers, but you guys will get some unsolicited advice at the end of this video. But people will ask me, if you've just started the game and you're like 400, 500k power and you're just looking for videos on it, and you don't even know what a jumper is, right? Wait till the end of this video. I'll go over what a jumper is, but yes, you should definitely restart. Now, if you are like 40 million and you're playing in SOC and you've been playing for like 2 years and you're not T5 and you're like, wow, should I restart the game and like go through again? The answer is almost certainly no, right? In terms of a fun factor, if you're going to put a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of knowledge into this game, you're gonna make 3 farms, you'll be gathering all the time. Restarting from a 40 mil stock account, I guess you could try to wait out, but realistically, if you put 200 hours into a 40 mil stock account, you put 200 hours into like a brand new account, every minute that you spend on the stock account is gonna go way, way, way further than one on a new account. So just be aware that if you want to have more fun and you think it's fun to restart and you want to be like one of the big dogs as early on as you possibly can, that might be pretty fun, and so it might be worth in terms of fun factor, but in terms of overall efficiency, there's really never a reason to restart unless you're going for like a record or something. So just be aware of, like, if you're looking to restart, if you just started the game, you don't know what a jumper is, or your account sucks in comparison to other people's accounts, sucking being probably less than 100k power a day. So if it's like 40 days in, you're like 3 million power, yeah, you should probably restart. But if you're in Season of Conquest and you're like 40 million power, you probably shouldn't. So another question I get is, should I migrate? Generally, when you think about migrating, right, go to the little globe here so you can look at all of the other KDs. So let's say you are in prep season and you are, pick one of these KDs, right? So if you are in one of these KDs and you look over and you see you're not in a Rising Star KD, or like maybe the other KDs have higher, let's go to 2813. If you guys are in there, shout out to you guys. So if you are in this continent, let's say you're, I don't know, like 2812 or something, and you're looking around the continent and you're like, man, should I migrate? Like, what's going on over here, right? So it would bequeath you to probably check out the nearby kingdom and see what their alliances look like, right? Okay, are they having civil war? Okay, okay, this is a civil war. A little slightly awkward, but anyway, so I guess this would be a red flag to not migrate here. If you guys are not having civil war, and I'm talking out of my ass, I apologize for that. You have to understand. I'm seeing a CF burning against the LT, and it looks a little fucking weird. As well as nobody else here. So anyway, wow, that is super awkward. Yeah, so I guess if you looked over at a nearby kingdom and they weren't in civil war, you'd be like, oh, like maybe I'd want to go there. Like maybe you look at the power, maybe you look at the gift level, and you're like, maybe these guys are doing pretty well, and you want to go over there. Generally, if you see like a civil war, you see like low gift levels or low powers or like really fucked up territory in KL. Those would all be reasons to not want to migrate to someplace. Like this is, wow, these are like huge red flags. I guess you guys are just getting obliterated out here. This is very sad. Yeah, point is if this is your KD, I guess, and you're part of this alliance that's getting obliterated, you can either look at the remaining alliances and look at their power and look at their gift level and decide if you want to stay, or you can look at another alliance in the continent with a different gift level and then decide if you want to go there. Generally, you want to go to the most gifts, the most power, the most likely to win KvK, because that's the most important. So, long-winded explanation for if you're asking if you should migrate, generally the majority of people are going to be in the KDs that are going to lose, so almost always the answer is yes. So just look around other kingdoms in your continent. Of course, this is like a pre-KvK 1 thing, but I mean, if you're like KvK 2, 3+, like I assume you know how to migrate. Wow, that was awkward. I was not expecting them to be burning, bro. I was just clicking on random stuff. You're doing 2813. Again, apologies, guys. I was not trying to hear your dirty laundry there. Okay, 5th thing on this list right here. What is the best thing I can do to gain power fast? I get this question absolutely all the time. People will look at my power, they'll be like, oh, I'm 500k, he's 60 mil, I would like to be 60 mil, right? How can I do this tomorrow? People ask that shit all the time. And the only answer to really climb power really quickly is gonna be to spend money. Now, if you're FTP like me, or you're a low spender, or maybe even a mid spender, right? That's probably not too realistic to just like shoot up in power immediately. So realistically, what you can do is you can make 3 farms and you can gather gems on your main account. So if you look over here, I don't have all my gem gatherers out, a little guilty over here, but I'm always gathering gems on the map. Once you go into your academy and you get to CH16, you unlock something called jewelry. Jewelry will allow you to gather gems off the map, and gems allow you to buy basically whatever premium content you want. If you look over here, this is one of the worst gem events to participate in as a new player. However, events like these, like Holy Knight's Treasure is a really good example, will give you a lot of resources, they'll give you a lot of speeds, and they'll give you a lot of different things you can use to grow your account. The only real way that you can get these is by gathering gems out of the ground. Generally, you never want to gather resources on your main account because you can always make another farm if you want that. A farm would be a secondary account in which you gather resources to send to your main later on. You generally want to have 3 of these, right? The 3 of these will ensure that you don't have resource issues, and then you gather gems on your main and you use those gems in different events to give you more speed ups, more VIP, more commanders to make your account permanently better, right? The resources will come and go, but the gems you spend on equipment or commanders will stay forever. So realistically, can you gain power quickly? Can you slowly plan out incrementally on how you're going to spend your gems in order to gain power in bursts so that as it goes on, it looks like you've gained power in pretty reasonable times? Yes, you can do that, but you have to be careful with it. So, ironically, another thing that I get asked a lot is, obviously I don't have a ton of gems on me right now, but there were points in times where I had like 100,000, 200,000 gems on me. Like I was just rocking out with a ton of gems. A lot of people ask me, like, where do I get gems, right? So the first thing I do is I zoom out, and I scroll around, and I find myself a juicy node, okay? Then I hit the gather button on this node, and I go and gather. Oh, look, and there's another one here, so I will gather this one as well. Right? If you have just started the game, you're only going to have access to level 1 nodes, and you best believe that you're going to have to be gathering as many gems as you possibly can. Another thing you can do is you can chain barbarians, which I have another video on if you guys want to check that out. Essentially, it implies where you attack one barbarian and the area of effect ability from your commander hits another barb and it attacks you instead of you attacking it, and so it's free. Also, if you have just started in a new KD, you're going to have these things called barbarian camps. right? They look just like this. I'm in KvK right now, so mine are quite higher level than yours will be when you first start. But when you very start the game, the first few days of the KD, even tier 1 units will be able to take these down, and they give you 30 gems a pop, and they're all really good to kill. If you want gems, you're gonna have to gather them, consider chaining or different ways of killing barbarians, or do camps, or even better, do all three. Right? These things will give you the most gems humanly possible, especially from a very early kingdom. The next question I get a lot is, should I do guardians? You guys don't know what guardians are? Guardians come out at holy sites. A good example of a holy site would be this circle. At these, every guardian you kill will drop a rune. So as you can see, these have already been killed. Doing guardians doesn't cost any AP and will give you a lot of experience. Generally, my rule of thumb is if you have enough time to chain barbarians and you chain a ton, right, you really won't need the experience from guardians. However, if you're not chaining barbarians, you got work, you got a job, you can't just devote a lot of time to rock like that. Guardians are a pretty good way to, do either once or twice a day, is a way to incrementally give you bursts of experience for no action points. So should you do guardians? Just depends how much time you have. You have a lot of time, you should probably just chain instead. If you don't have a lot of time, probably should do guardians. Another question I get a lot is 5 marching or forts better? 5 marching barbs is where you take 5 marches and you attack the same barb. Every single march that is attacking barbarian will give you credit as if the march soloed the barbarian. So if you attack with 5 or 1 march, it does not matter, it will give you the same rewards either way. However, it is very quick in terms of spending AP, because obviously 5 marches attacking the same barb will kill it much faster than 1 attacking individual marches. So people will ask, like, should I 5 march away my daily AP, or should I use it on forts? Generally, I would say, if you're going to chain barbarians, again, where you attack one barbarian, your area of effect hits the other barbarians, and they attack you without using any AP, that is the single best use of your AP in the game. The more you chain, the better your count's going to be. However, if you're not chaining, forts are going to be the next best thing. When you're not T5, especially when you're beginning in the game, it's very important to get Books of the Covenant, and these juicy forts will give you these Books of the Covenant. Generally, if you can do 2-man forts, which is where you and a friend do a fort, you'll get probably like 4 to 5 Books of the Covenant. It's a really good way to get books, especially because books are going to be your single biggest bottleneck to T5, and every book is 10 gems. So realistically, if you want the most gems for your action points, you're going to be doing forts, and that's what I would do. When you're T5, I guess you can kind of make a game time decision on how much time you want to spend on. If you're too lazy to do forts, matters a lot less after T5, but obviously if you're beginning, you're not there. Another question I get is, how many marches do I run? I get a lot of people asking me, like, what should my 5 march composition be, right? And obviously I have videos where I talk about the tier lists in which I would tier epic and legendary commanders, which I have in the description below. But people will look at these tier lists and they'll be like, wow, like I want to run 5 whole marches of comms. Now I'm going to tell you guys something, and don't go shouting from the rafters about this, but I have some pretty decent gear, right? In terms of this, like, overall my gear is like pretty solid, especially for an F2P, okay? Even with my pretty solid gear, as you may notice, I can march maybe 1 to 2 marches with gear. I only use 1 march, like ever. I only use 1 march, right? If you are just starting the game, it is imperative that you make 1 march as strong as humanly possible. You expertise those legendary commanders, and you get as much solid gear as you possibly can get, right? Because out here, there's going to be a lot of players that are absolutely gargantuan, and they're going to step all over you in the most dommy-mommy type of way, unless you have just 1 march that can match them, right? 1 carefully micromanaged march that plays really smart, really safe, that is as efficient as possible, can do very well for you. However, you have multiple weak marches, they're going to get picked off in the open field, you're going to find yourself with a bunch of hospital bills. It's not good for you, not good for your kingdom, not good for anybody. So start out just by using as few marches you possibly can. Once you absolutely can gear like 1, 2, maybe 3 marches, then you can start to move up the ladder. Make sure you're not using 5 marches, especially if you're not like really far into the game, and just focus on as few marches you possibly can. So for the question, how many marches should I run? I would generally say 1 to 2, especially if you're watching a guide like this, you probably don't have much more. Later on, especially if you're spending, then you can start to decide to do something else. But other than that, 1 to 2. Another question I get, especially from beginners, is, can I go Cavs or Archers? This is gonna be the last question on the list. If I miss anything, feel free to drop in the comments below, and I will I'll consider making another video on this. But people ask me, can I go Cavs or Archers? Now, if you guys have just started playing, or you guys are a little bit in, you may have noticed that they released a new commander. That commander is Thutmose III and Imhotep. right? These commanders are actually really, really good, and they're kind of game changers, KvK1. However, this does not change the FTP meta to infantry, or the low spender meta, or the mid. Like, I would never run anything that's not infantry. I think once you get to Season of Conquest, right, then everything is out of whack, and then you can kind of run whatever you want to. But if you're going to start out the game, if you're wondering where at least up to purple gear should go, and what you should be running for KvK 1, 2, and 3, it's always going to be infantry. So KvK 2 and 3, like the absolute king of marches, is going to be Alex YSG. It just is going to be for a while, right? As somebody who has done 20 mil kills, like with free to play with just Alex YSG in a KvK where there's very little fighting, he's absolutely astoundingly good, and there's almost nobody else you'd rather run. People will talk about Saladin, people will talk about Thutmose, right? People will bring up all these other commanders. Realistically, infantry is going to get Sun Tzu, it's going to get Charles Martel, who's going to be basically free from keys, and it's going to have Richard, who's just a really solid PvE march, right? So in order to grow your account most efficiently, you're going to want really good investment in infantry, and if you're going to be fighting KvK 2 and 3 with Alex YSG, you're also going to need investment in infantry. So generally, most players should just go infantry, and I would leave cavalry and archers just to the whales. I know these new commanders may look good, and they may be juicy and tantalizing, they're just not that good. The player that goes infantry will have Richard, right? He'll be able to chain, he'll be able to do camps, he'll probably get through PvE better. You know, you just tanking for cow rack, saving AP there. Like, really, there are so many places where infantry is better, especially early game, that I would never ever support going Cavs or archers. If there's a firearm pointed at my head and I had to choose between Cavs and archers as an alternative, I'd probably choose it'd probably go infantry, archers, cav in that order. Again, though, I would never ever suggest that anybody go anything other than infantry, ever. I would never ever suggest it. You know, some people are like, oh, well, it's more fun to go this, or it's more fun to go that. I mean, you know, efficiently, which is what I'm going to suggest to you guys, you should go infantry. And then later on, you can change after you've gotten your T5 infantry, and then you can look for your XY Nevsky combos and whatever you want to do in SOC. It's just not worth to go for anything else. So, bonus here, unsolicited advice. I know I just went through 10, but this is going to be the 11th, and this is going to be what is a jumper. I'm pretty sure I've never, ever, literally ever had a beginner ask me what a jumper was, because I mean, they just don't tell you, right? It's vernacular that you learn, it's not vernacular that you start out with. So a jumper is going to be a group of people that generally form on Discord, maybe in the Rock official Discord, which you can check in the description below, or the Jumper community Discord, which I'll also put in the description below. And in there, if you go to the Recruiting You tab in the official Rock Discord, or if you go to the Jumper ad section in the official Jumper Discord, you will see a whole ton of jumpers advertised. What these are is they're groups of players that gather together to jump to a kingdom before the kingdom has started, and so they all jump in, hundreds of players, and they're prepared to take the kingdom and hopefully try to win KvK1. If you are not part of a jumper, your account will generally suck, and another thing is, like, jumpers will give you a whole lot of information on the game. This game has a crazy learning curve, right? So all these questions here, you may have more questions, right? As everybody has a ton of questions when the game first starts, right? Jumper groups will really help you get these questions under control and put a lot of information to you on how to play the game properly. So make sure you join a jumper group if you are, you're one of the people that I said to restart earlier. It is super good for your account. There's a ton of like pretty knowledgeable players out there. There are also some less knowledgeable players, but even people with less knowledge are going to be better than you as a brand new beginning player. If you guys have any questions about anything in here, feel free to drop a response in the comments. I will respond to basically every comment with a question. Also, feel free to join my Discord in the description below. If you're ever looking for notifications for when I go live or when I post a video, or you ever want to ask me questions while I'm not live, the single best place to find me is that Discord in the description below. You just tag me in the general chat or the Ask Me Anything chat, and I will gladly respond to you. If you guys want to help support the stream or the channel, as you guys may or may not know, I am not sponsored at all by Lilith, so please consider joining the Streamlabs link in the description below, or check out our merch store. We have other than that, guys, feel free to drop a like, a comment, whatever you want to do, and have yourselves an absolutely great day. Bye.